Order windows in the US for $150,000 or bring them in from another country for $50,000. Order a custom kitchen for $70,000 or import it from another country for $30,000. Buy and install transparent glass railings for $65,000 in the US or bring them in from another country for $20,000. And the highlight, the Fireplace, $18,000 US or $3,000 if you import it from another country. Why is it still profitable to import materials, even if Trump imposes these tariffs? Watch this video and save money. Windows. What do we do when we want to order such big, huge, beautiful windows with this panoramic view? Of course, we go to Home Depot. But what will we find there? They'll tell us we don't have windows like that, or let us order them for you. In the same way, you can go to a specialized showroom where they'll show you a bunch of samples and offer to order these windows for you. They'll come when your frame is ready, take measurements, and make you an offer. An offer for windows for a house like this will cost $150,000. So what can you do differently? You find a country, for example. You can also order these windows yourself in Europe. No one is stopping you from doing that. You can order from Turkey, from China. That's also an option. And today, many companies offer this service where you pay directly to China and the windows are delivered straight to your site. All these options work. But what's the difference? The difference is that when you go to a showroom in America, you'll be offered a price with a markup, including their profit. That is, the price will usually be 3 times higher than what they pay to the factory where you could buy directly yourself. So what's the risk? The risk is that if you handle this process yourself, you might run into issues with quality control, meeting deadlines, and possibly even managing the financial transactions. In other words, you could pay somewhere and then lose your money. So the most important point here is to find a great, reliable factory, and ideally a person in the country where you're placing the order who can oversee the process for you: payment, production, and delivery. What do I do? When I need windows, I look for the country where windows are the most cost-effective for me. I'm not saying the cheapest, just the most advantageous. Why? Because cost effectiveness is made up of several factors. That includes the price, the lead time, the quality of delivery, and the quality of the product itself. That's what makes it cost effective. I find a factory, and I also always find a person I can trust. Today, that's not a problem. We live in an open world, and we can find anyone from our own country who speaks our language and shares our mentality, living in that country and able to oversee the process for you. It's actually quite easy to do. Ask around through acquaintances. Just ask your friends who lives, for example, in Turkey, and you'll find that person. Next, if you're a builder who regularly imports windows and you're not ordering just for yourself, you should fly to that country and visit the factory where you'll be placing your order. Meet with your new representative, negotiate the terms, get the best prices, sign the contract, set the deadlines, return to America, and after that, your process is already set up. You take the measurements. Of course, that's now your responsibility. But I think for $100,000, you'll be willing to take those measurements. You send them to your representative in that country. The representative works with the factory, gets the price for you, and obtains the invoice. You pay the invoice, usually not the full amount at once. You pay 50, 60%, sometimes 70%. After the goods are ready, your representative goes to the factory, inspects the goods, watches how they are loaded into the container, and after that, you make the remaining payment. After that, you need to monitor how your container will be transported and delivered to your site. This is also not difficult to do. There are many logistics companies, and today this market is quite underloaded, so you will easily find a good, reliable logistics company. They will arrange delivery of your goods directly from the factory straight to your site, and today this doesn't cost much. For example, delivering these windows from Turkey cost only $6,000, straight from the factory directly to our site. And of course, we also paid the duties that were introduced by Trump. Yes, of course, that adds to the price. But even if you add all that up, the price is still half as much, guys, half as much.
Building a house? Sign up for a consulting meeting.
The kitchen is the most interesting story in my life because custom kitchens in America cost crazy money. I participate in awards, and in some awards there's even a separate category. It's the kitchen, the best custom kitchen. The prices are $500,000, $200,000. When I hear these prices, I ask myself, what is this kitchen made of? In this case, our kitchen, which was brought from Ukraine, from my country, cost $12,000 there. Here, they quoted us $70,000. Okay, let's add the shipping cost to that $12,000. Yes, the shipping was expensive, $8,000. But I also put a second kitchen in that container. So that means it's already split in half, $4,000. And by the way, that's how we help our course participants. If needed, we combine several orders into one container and ship them together. This saves money for everyone. Well, you might say, oh, he was born in Ukraine, so it's easy for him to communicate. Yes, on one hand, that's true, but there's another risk. There's still a war going on in Ukraine. You can choose any other country. It could be Turkey or Europe, for example, Poland or Italian kitchens, the best kitchens in the world. Or you can order from somewhere in India or another country. It's easy to find, or even from China. It will still be cheaper, guys. So what's the only difficulty? The difficulty is that you have to handle it yourself. You need to organize the whole process, as I already explained to you. That means finding a company, a manufacturer, finding someone to oversee the process, and finding a logistics company. Yes, that's the challenge. But when you're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think it's worth doing. A couple of small details that make this kitchen so expensive if you order it here, but cost almost nothing if you order directly from the factory. For example, this 3D design on the facade. A 3D facade design if you order it with painting. If you order this 3D design here, it will cost a crazy amount of money. Or built-in LED lighting, the upper line and the lower line. See? This is a special profile. Sometimes we have to buy this profile here and the LED lighting here. It costs a huge amount of money. What are the risks with the kitchen? Yes, there are huge risks if the measurements are done incorrectly. You need to have a specialist here who can adjust these measurements. For example, a straightforward case. This cabinet was wider than we needed. We wanted to fit the hood exactly between the drawers, but the cabinet was ordered a bit too wide. And our specialist Pavel, right here on site, cut down the entire front panel. We trimmed the glass, reordered the frames, which were delivered to us within a week from Ukraine. And that's it. This drawer is now built in exactly to size. There are sometimes nuances, but all these nuances are outweighed by the savings you get when ordering from abroad. In every modern home, if it's modern design, you'll see glass railing. Right now, it's a trend, a definite trend in fashion. Here, there are 200 linear feet of railings, glass railings. We ordered these railings and paid only $18,000 for them. Attention. A few details didn't fit the size. Yes, we made a mistake. We ordered here in Houston and paid $3,000 for it. That's literally 3 pieces of glass. So each piece of glass is $1,000. Now, all these railings were calculated in America. Their cost was $65,000. Guys, with installation, they cost us $25,000. That's almost 3 times the difference. Only because I found a factory in another country where glass is cheaper. Then I found someone who could help organize the process of quality control at the factory and delivery. And here they are. Here, locally, we found a contractor to install these railings. The product is ready. $65,000 versus $25,000. Guys, this is the simplest product. $65,000. You'd think, what for? It's just glass, a piece of glass. Special holders are installed at the bottom, which just come in boxes. You screw them to the base, insert the glass, snap in 2 profiles, one and then the other from the opposite side, and then put the handrail on top. Your railings are ready. You don't need a college degree to make these railings. You just need to order the parts from different companies. Moreover, I'll tell you, the profile, brackets, and holders were simply ordered from a supplier in Turkey, while the glass was ordered from a glass factory in Turkey. So that's actually 2 different suppliers. This results in even greater savings. But if you order these railings in America, meaning they will most likely order them from a glass factory here in America, it immediately costs more. But the parts, that is the railings, the handrail, the lower brackets, the latches, will most likely all be manufactured somewhere else, I think in China. And there will be an additional markup on them. That's why there's such a difference. And now, the highlight of today's video. Just try ordering a fireplace like this in America. I assure you, you won't find a manufacturer in America. It will most likely be Canada or New Zealand or England. But if this fireplace is brought from that country of this size and design, it costs $18,000 without installation. You just need to pay by card. When I found out the price, I was shocked. What did I do? I immediately checked where fireplaces of this type are made, and it turned out it's Europe and also India. Well, there might be some issues with quality there. And of course, there's China. But we know that duties are always changing. And I found a manufacturer in Ukraine, in my own country. We paid $3,000. The person made it in 1 month. It was put in the container that was used to ship the kitchen, and now the fireplace is here. Of course, installation cost another $1,000. So $4,000, but not $18,000. And today we live in an international world where everyone knows English, everyone has accounts where you can make payments. Everyone has social media. You can check up on anyone. Today the world is open. Today it's very easy to set everything up. You just have to want to do it. And finally, from my own experience, a very valuable piece of advice. You don't need to import everything. You definitely don't need to import drywall. You definitely do not need to import composite decking. Why is that? Well, all types of sheet materials are heavy, they weigh quite a lot, and they also take up a lot of space in a container. It's simply not economically viable. Also, all consumable materials like drywall, decking, flooring, these are materials you use constantly, and sometimes you need to buy more during the construction process. If you miscalculate the amount, you'll have a problem. In other words, you won't be able to instantly buy more decking of the same color, for example. That means you'll have to wait. I've encountered this problem myself. After that, I said, no, don't buy or import flooring. Why? If you're building custom homes, most likely your client will want to choose the color. You need to give them a place where they can choose that color. And the same problem arises if you bring in flooring and something happens, say it gets hit or damaged somewhere and you don't have any extra stock. You won't be able to replace it quickly. You'll have to wait for the material to arrive from another country. Countertops, that is slabs for countertops. There's a huge selection, for example, in our state in Houston. There are thousands and thousands of options for these countertops. So your client or you have to choose from them. If you make your choice and, for example, bring in 6 slabs and something happens, like a crack appears somewhere, you won't be able to get a replacement quickly. That's why I don't recommend importing those materials that are sheet-like, heavy, and need to be specially selected. All electrical appliances and lamps, it's better to buy them in America because they must be installed by a licensed electrician and are subject to certification. In other words, certification is required in America. And often, for example, you might buy a lamp that isn't certified and you simply won't pass the inspection. The faucets you install as well as toilets are also certified in America. Most likely you won't pass the inspection if, for example, you bring a built-in wall toilet from Europe. It simply won't pass inspection and most likely the connections won't match local standards or codes. That's why there are certain things you just can't do. These include electrical appliances, all faucets and toilets. In other words, you can't bring these in. All sheet materials, everything you choose, like for example flooring or tiles, it's better to buy them locally because you can always come and replace them if needed. For example, if your faucet breaks, how are you going to replace it if it came from, say, Turkey or China? Here, you can replace it very quickly, right away. With this house that we just finished, we managed to save our client about $200,000. And just now, the whole family arrived at the house, saw our work, and were absolutely thrilled. In addition to the savings, there's also the appearance of the materials. You can import a lot of high-quality materials from abroad that would cost 3 times as much here.